Hello, good evening. Welcome to 84 Free Writing Correction. Okay, so today we are going to discuss about case note of Mr. Roberts. Okay, so these are the steps that we are going to discuss. First, we will discuss about the case note, and the bullet points are like finding the purpose of the letter and content selection and length of the document, writing style, paragraphic language, and grammar. So we will read the case note and find out in detail about all these six important uh, evaluation criteria. Then we will write the letter and or the correct the letter that we already received in our Telegram group. So if you would like to write a letter and correct it by free, please write a letter and post it as a document, Word document, and send it as a message or a Word document into the Telegram group. All right. So thank you for your all your support and share this video as well. Thank you for that. Yep. So we'll next moving towards the case note first. Then we'll come back to this letter that we got from the um, Telegram group. Okay. So all right. So, as you all know, that writing subtest is around 45 minutes. The first 5 minutes is reading time, and the writing time is 40 minutes. It's a time-bound exam as well. So, you will be given a case note. So, you have to write a letter according to the writing task that is mentioned at the end of the case note. So you can read the case note and complete the writing task which follows. Okay, so that's what we are going to do right now. Okay, so here in this case note, we are reading writing task. Using the information given in the case note, write a letter to Mary Watson, Palliative Care Manager, Royal District Nursing Service, RDNS, about the patient. So you can find the purpose of the letter. That's what the first bullet point that we have discussed while, yeah. So this is the first bullet point we are discussing in this video. Okay, finding the purpose of the letter. Okay, so writing task is using the information given in the case notes. Write a letter to Mary Watson, Palliative Care Manager, Royal District Nursing Service. So it is not clear from the writing task what you have to do. They just said that using the information given in the case note, write a letter to Mary Watson just about the patient. Okay, so we need to find out for why we are writing this letter. So that is very important. Then only you can tell what is the purpose of the letter. So the first question you are going to ask is why you are writing this letter. Okay, so that's the first important question. Oh, good. So that you can find it from just above this writing task. You can see there is a discharge plan here. Okay, so read the discharge plan, then monitor pain status. That is one note that is given. That is first one for what we are writing. This um, letter is tell the nurse to monitor the patient's pain status. Okay, then manage symptoms. Okay, need to check the symptoms or manage the symptoms of Mr. Roberts. Okay, check need for assistance with mobility. Important mobility and bathing, that means self-care. So daughters want father to stay in hospital for further treatment. So we will find out from the case note is that a relevant information or not, and provide family with emotional support. So this is all the information that we got, just some informations that we got from the discharge plan. You have to read the case note carefully, then only you can understand why you are writing this letter in a complete meaning. Okay, so again, we will read it from the beginning, then you can understand what is exactly and why is exactly you are writing this letter. Okay, so we are starting from the beginning. That is, hospital is Royal Adelaide Hospital. That is where you works as a nurse at the moment. And patient details is name is Mr. Robert. Date of birth is given. Marital status married. Next to kin is wife. Admission date is given 1st October 2011 and discharge date is 26th November 2011. Reason for admission, that is presenting compliant. This is presenting compliant. Why? Because at the time of admission the patient's condition is this. So you should always remember this one. This is as a presenting compliant. Presenting compliant. Okay, so that is presenting compliant. Again, reason for admission is chronic cough, hoarseness, difficulty breathing upon exertion. So that is the condition of the patient at the time of admission, that is 1st October 2011. Okay, so and after that we had diagnosis. He got squamous cell carcinoma of left lung confirmed by CT scan. That you have done from the hospital, from Royal Adelaide Hospital. So this is the diagnosis. So that is two different things. That is, you have done something, some diagnosis from the hospital and find out this is the patient's condition is squamous cell carcinoma of left lung confirmed by CT scan. Okay, so after that, past medical history is given. That is, hypertension diagnosed in June 2008, frequent episodes of bronchitis, heavy smoker, 40 years of smoking, 1 to 1.5 packs per day, non-drinker. Social history is given. He is a lawyer, supportive wife, two married daughters in regular contact, one 6 months pregnant. Medical progress, resection of the lung. Okay, so that is the process. We have to chemotherapy, radiotherapy, ineffective treatment, metastasis in liver and spine. Okay, so the important information you have to carefully read is that ineffective treatment, metastasis in liver and spine, cancer in terminal stages, Mr. Jones wishes to return home. So why we at the time of discharge plan we said that we already read that patient would like to go to his home, so that you need some assistance for Mr. Jones while he goes home. Okay, so here it is clearly given that his cancer is at terminal stages and Mr. Jones wishes to return home. Okay, nursing management at the time of when he was admitted in the hospital is fluid management is given, oxygen therapy is given, patient made, you made patient comfortable, and pain management morphine sulfate 40 milligram 4 hourly per 20 milligram dose as needed. Okay, so the second, from this you understand that the patient has got diagnosed with the terminal illness of lung cancer, and patient prognosis is very poor and he likes to go back to return to home. Okay, so his patient's condition and pain is uh, pain management is the primary concern, then manage symptoms like breathing difficulty. So, and again, need for assistance with mobility and bathing. So that if the patient's condition is worsening, so we need to address that as well if he goes to home. And doctors want father to stay in the hospital for further treatment. Okay, so that's also even but the doctors want father to stay in hospital for further treatment and provide family with emotional support. So Then you have to read the writing task again using the information given in the case note. Write a letter to Mary Watson, palliative care manager. So palliative care manager is deals with terminal illnesses. So this is relevant and it should be carefully noticed. So you are writing a letter to palliative care manager about the patient's condition is terminal illness. Okay, so then we will go to the second stage, that is content selection. How you are going to select your content. Before that, what you are going to do is you have to select, the content length of the document. Also you have to consider writing style, you have to consider paragraphing, you have to consider. So all these four, after that it's is stick with one another, like you can't separate it from single by single, because contents, when you select a content, that definitely uh, relate to your length of the document. Okay, so the style of writing, whether it is a formal or a semi-formal, depends on um, what content you are going to select. And again, paragraphing, that is the how you're organizing your letter, is entirely dependent on your content selection. So what you have to do is you have to do all this in one, because that is the easiest way. Then you can, so the first step to do that is you have to take each bit of information and categorize it as relevant, semi-relevant, and irrelevant. So whether it is relevant for the current, okay, so you can say R for relevant and irrelevant and semi-relevant. Okay, so these are the things you should consider while each bit of information, like name Mr. Robert, is it relevant, irrelevant, or semi-relevant? Date of birth, is it relevant, irrelevant, or semi-relevant? That you have to decide and find out all the informations and categorize it. Then again, what you have to do, that's this content selection. So then what you have to do is the selected content needs to be organized, which information you need to prioritize first. In this case, you can definitely see that the patient condition is worsening, so the pain management, because of the palliative care needs, the pain management is the primary concern. Then the secondary is manage the symptoms like breathing difficulty. That's also an important thing. Then you can state his ability of mobility issues, that we can discuss. Then about the personal care of the patient. Then the fourth, fifth, and sixth point, you can mention that the emotional support to the family, that you can discuss at the last as a least priority one. So you should classify the informations after your content selection. Then the style of writing should be always semi-formal, would be a great letter. So you can use semi-formal kind of letter for OET writing. Okay, so these are the important information you have to about the case. No, then again, paragraphing, that we already discussed. Then you have to organize your letter according to that. So if you do like this, only if you're selecting the relevant details and some of the semi-relevant informations which is relevant to the letter, then the length of the document usually will be 180 to 200 words. So you don't need to worry about the length of the document. Only thing that you need to careful about is language and grammar, that you should edit your letter at the end of after finishing your letter. You have to edit, and if any grammar mistake is there, and if any punctuation mistake is there, and if any other capitals mistakes is there, so you have to look into all that mistakes at the end of the letter. So that's what you have to do the language and grammar at the end. Okay, so these are the six important evaluation criteria for OET letter. Okay, so then we are going to correct the letter. We will see, we already discussed what is about this case note, and we will see the letter that we received in the Telegram group. Then we will correct it and we'll give some suggestions. Okay, so we'll see that letter in a minute. Right, good. So everybody knows how to write the introduction and all. So this is address part, that is Mary Watson, palliative care manager, Royal District Nursing Service, is given correctly, and date is absolutely fine. And dear Watson, Mr. Roberts, 2652. That's all fine. So I'm writing to refer Mr. Jones, whose features suggest cancer in terminal stage. So this, when you read this, so you should think about the evaluation criteria as well while you are reading your letter at the end of the letter writing. So I'm writing to refer Mr. Jones, whose features are suggest cancer. So there are some mistakes in this one. So the important one is the information you provided is absolutely wrong, because it's already diagnosed. It's not a suggestion. It is not any. It's not you need to do any other test. It's already confirmed. So whose features suggestion? There is no suggestion. So who has diagnosed with cancer or lung cancer is the better option for this letter. So what you have to write is who has been diagnosed with left lung cancer. Okay, and again, so I'm writing to refer Mr. Jones and then put a comma. That means if you put a comma there, that means your sentence is not finishing here. Then you have to add your closing sentence as well. It is like that you are correcting your grammar mistakes while you are doing this. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to, okay, so it should be like this. And he would require, so it's not he would, he requires your further management and support would be nice. Okay, he requires your further management and support would be nice. Okay, that's about the introduction part. So because while considering the introduction, you should think about introduction always should be immediately apparent. What is mean by immediately apparent? Immediately apparent means the patient's condition needs to be discussed at the first sentence itself. Like, what is the present complaint of the patient, present situation of the patient, that needs to be discussed in the first instance itself. Then it should be sufficiently explained in the later paragraphs. So that's later sentence as well. So in introduction, you have to be very careful that you have to write the what is the purpose of the letter. So then that is the purpose of the letter is he requires further management and support from your center, or whatever you can write, that you can write. So that is what the writer wants from the reader of this letter. Okay, so then you can put it in different color. That's what is good suggestion for me. So put this, yeah, good. All right, so Moving forward to the next paragraph. So, the second paragraph, the writer mentioned that Mr. Jones was admitted into our facility on 1st 10, 2011. He presented with chronic cough hoarseness along with difficulty breathing upon exertion. Okay, that's good. That you're starting with the patient was admitted on this. Okay, so then the story would be like, so the patient admitted to your hospital, then what has done next. So a CT scan, and it's written in a separate paragraph. You can write it in the same paragraph itself, because this is all happened while the patient was in the hospital, and it's all the clinical bits that you can, the admission thing until the diagnosis, you can write it in a separate paragraph. Then you can write what the medical management and the nursing management you had provided in the hospital in the second paragraph. Then again, the what we need to do, the reader needs to do in the last paragraph. So we will see. Okay, so Mr. Jones was admitted into our facility. That was okay. He presented with chronic cough, hoarseness, along with difficulty breathing upon exertion. So he CT scan. So that is wrong. Some typo maybe, but consider it is a wrong one. So CT scan revealed. A CT scan revealed squamous cell carcinoma of left lung, and his lung was resected. So lung resection was done or not. Then you have to check whether the of, so again, articles should needs to, because there is the left lung. Okay, specifically it should be the left lung. Okay, so that is definitive. Article should add before the left lung. Okay, that is good. Then moving forward. Okay, so left lung and his lung was resected. So then going back to the case note, is the lung is resected or not? Okay, so medical progress, resection of the lung. So it is already given in that. So that's a good point. That's, resection of the lung was done. So again, however, he was treated with chemotherapy and radiotherapy, which was not effective. Why? That is an important question. However, the cancer was metastasis. That's why he was treated with chemotherapy and radiotherapy, which was not effective. The result is cancer is spreading to the liver and spine. So you have to write in the other way. That is, so because it says that chemotherapy and radiotherapy, ineffective treatment, metastasis in liver and spine, cancer in terminal stages. Mr. Jones wishes, okay. So, or otherwise, it is not, however, there is no need of however there. So you can write, in additionally, he was treated with chemotherapy and radiotherapy, which was not effective. So you don't need to add however here. Instead, you can add, in addition, he was treated with he was treated with chemotherapy and radiotherapy, which was effective, not effective, and this results in cancer spreading to the liver and spine. So it is not because of that, but anyhow, it's fine. So that is okay. So let's see the next paragraph. Currently, Mr. Jones is comfortable with oxygen therapy and fluid management. So also he is on morphine sulfate 40 mg 4 hours and 20 mg doses as needed for pain control. So is it is current management or it's just fluid management? So you should write it. You can't write it is currently, because you can write during hospitalization Mr. John is treated with oxygen therapy and fluid management, and he is on better to avoid also. Okay, avoid also in your letter, and again currently is not correct in this instance. Okay, so currently you can avoid, then Mr. John's, or you can during hospitalization Mr. John is comfortable with, or no, John is treated with oxygen therapy and fluid management, and he is on morphine sulfate 40 milligram 4 hourly, 20 milligram doses as needed for pain control. That would be a good sentence. Okay, so moving forward to the next part, that is, he was diagnosed with hypertension in June 2008, and he. So this also another thing. So you have to write what is that. So either you can write, um, according to medical history, or as per medical history, Mr. Roberts was diagnosed with hypertension in 2008. But this one is good. He was diagnosed with hypertension is okay because it's mentioned in past form. It's good. So he was diagnosed with hypertension in 2000, in June 2008, and he had frequent episodes of bronchitis. And again, capitals, please. Please note, he is a heavy smoker for 40 years and takes 1 to 2 half packs per day. So the number of packets of cigarettes is doesn't matter because you already mentioned it's a heavy smoker. That is enough. So you don't want to write it exactly what, how many numbers of cigarettes you are taking. So that would be, like, you can avoid that sentence actually, that bit actually. Okay, he is a very heavy smoker for 40 years. Okay, so in addition, Mr. Jones wished to return home, but doctors want him to remain in the hospital. That is a good writing. Wishes is the correct form. Mr. John, because Mr. Jones is singular, that's why you should use this in the singular form of wish. Wishes to return home, but daughter wants again. Daughter, if it is daughters, again wants. It should be wants. Okay, wishes to return him to remain in the hospital. Okay, so conclusion. I would appreciate it if you could monitor his pain status and manage his symptoms. Also, it's avoid repetitive sentences like also. So you can avoid that. Don't use that. Alright. So I would appreciate, or you can write, it would be highly appreciated if you could monitor Mr. Roberts' pain status as well as to manage his symptoms. So kindly assist him in mobility and bathing, or along with emotional support to his family. That would be sufficient enough. So you can write, I will correct that sentence fully. So kindly, sorry, right, right, kindly assist right, assist him in mobility and bathing, as well as, or along with, you can put, we already used as well as in the last sentence, along with, provide, sorry, along with providing emotional, give emotional support to his family, or provide, along with providing emotional support to his family. Okay, so that's the completion of your letter. You see, please do not hesitate to contact me for any queries. Yours sincerely, Nurse Mary Watson, Palliative Care Manager, Royal District Nursing Service. That is fine. That's good. So it's not too much corrections in this letter, but still needs to be careful with some of the structuring of the main corrections. So main corrections. Okay. So structuring of sentences and structuring of sentences, paragraphing, avoid repetitive repetitive words. Okay, so these are the major corrections in this letter. Okay, so you can read this letter again. Some corrections I already made. So if you want actually more support with your writing correction, we are providing paid correction services as well. So you can contact us on the same WhatsApp number that is provided in the group. Alright, thank you for watching the video. Bye for now.